I just don't know how we're going to fill the time, really.
Same. We've got nothing, literally nothing to talk about. But I'm pretty sure everybody will understand. It's a shame, really. It's a quiet week, so
always away, innit?
This is what it must be like supporting just someone like Gillingham like every week.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Carlisle.
Yeah.
Oh, right. I'm absolutely dreading this. So should we just do it? Right, come on, then. Let's go. Oh.
Brian Potter, Young Kenny, Kenny Senior, Ollie Mary, Jerry St Clair, Max and Paddy, your boys took one hell of a beating. Oh, do you remember when Bolton got knocked out the cup by Stockport? What were that about? Hello, new fans, old fans, and everyone in between. Come one, come all, I say, in it. Welcome to the Scarf Bergara War, the podcast that toes the line between the sublime and the ridiculous. I'm Nick Lee, here with you for as long as it takes to cover the events of last night. Lock the doors. 6 years to get this platform. Now they listen. Right, let's get into it. Johnson gets recognised everywhere he goes. Johnson. It's only Russ Johnson. How you doing, mate?
Oh, right? Sam, you know the feeling, don't you? You must get recognised everywhere you go.
Oh, it's a curse, mate. Yeah. Get all over Castle Street. You won't believe
it. Well, yeah. I mean, we've got Sam with us back again at the podcast. You're going to become a regular, Sam. I'm pretty sure of that. We're going to talk about Bolton. We'll look ahead to Woking at the weekend. We've got to, but it's all about the Bolton game, and it's all about beating Bolton, who get battered everywhere they go, which is on the ticker at the bottom. Thanks to everyone for tuning in. Got quite a large number today for the very start of this, which I'm really excited about. Can see Ian's already online, Mike as well. James Somerset, I forget your real name, but yeah, James Somerset's joining us as well.
We'll be talking about him later, so we'll.
Oh, okay.
I might tell you his real name then.
Okay, do that. And Nick as well, Nick Hughes. So. Great to see everybody. Let's run the titles and then we'll talk about what we're actually going to do and how we're going to do it, because we've got quite a good episode tonight. I mean, it's always good, but you know what I mean. This is the Scarf Bergara War, a Stockport County fan-created podcast, blog, YouTube live show and website. Find us at thescarfbergarawar.co.uk. For county fans, by county fans.
Back it up again. Let me begin.
Yeah. So what we were going to do is we were going to watch the highlights of last night and then talk about it as we go along, and maybe even pause it. I don't know. Let's see how far we get. But I've got the highlights lined up.
10 minutes. So
have you not? Did you go home and watch the rerun last night? Did you?
Yeah, I watched it's on iPlayer. It's 3 hours 1 minute. I don't know if you two saw that, and I literally watched the entire thing.
I've just got extra time to do now.
Yeah.
Blimey.
I think I'm on my second run through at the moment. But yeah.
What are you looking for? Is it like watching a film many times just to see what you can miss the first time?
You know that feeling of like, I don't know what you two are like, but if you watch like the county highlights on YouTube, like once I've watched them properly, I'll watch them again if it's like a good game that I'm interested in, and like skip through the opposition's goals. I just want to look at the good bit. But there was something about last night where it was like the fact that it just went so bad, so disastrously wrong at the start, made it that much better. So it was like I'm almost enjoying watching the first 5 minutes as much as the rest of the 90, because it kind of adds to the whole occasion. I'm sure we'll get into it, but yeah, just one of those gluttons for punishment, I guess.
Yeah, no, we will get into it in a lot of depth. I think this is going to be called the Bolton Show. I'm pretty sure. So yeah, we've got as long as we need really to go through it. So, what do you want to do? How do you want to do it? I mean, we've literally got the highlights ready to go from the official YouTube channel of the FA Cup. So hopefully this won't get cut by YouTube, won't get cut by StreamYard for copyright or anything like that. So let's just play it and see if this. Well, firstly, let's see if it works.
He's found Kachunga. And support from Apolline to his left, but Kachunga may go himself. He does, and he scored.
Bit sticky.
The deflection of Mark Kitching. The perfect start for Bolton Wanderers.
So straight away, straight out of the traps. First goal. I mean, I don't know about you lads, but I was thinking. I mean, I got asked what my score prediction would be before the match, and I basically said I couldn't really call it either way, but I just hope we didn't embarrass ourselves on national telly, and as long as we didn't concede early and think all those cliches, I wasn't really bothered. And like we said last week, I'm not too bothered about going Rotherham away either, although I am going to go. So when this happened, I was just thinking, oh fuck a duck. What about you lads?
That was it. It was just, and the fact that most people weren't even in the ground yet as well. It's like proper full on first minute. It's like, oh
yeah, it was weird because it was like, I think it was like a minute and a half, and we'd actually, like, for that first minute, it was pretty much all in their half. And I think looking back there, Kachunga actually picks it up midway inside their half, and obviously I think the actual attempt at the end, Kitchen's got a toe out on it, and there's nothing Ross can do. But
his left, but Kachunga may go himself. He does, and he scored.
Just rewind it a bit. Yeah, he starts in his own half.
Yeah, and
he's found
it's more this run, like it's more of that.
And support from Apolline to his left, but Kachunga may go himself. He does, and he scored.
Yeah, Bolton obviously just packed the team with pace, and that was obviously the plan, just to get at Ash Palmer and Collar and Crowsdale. But that goal and the second goal, once we got to grips with that pace as much as we could, it was kind of like that was all they had. And it was almost like they kind of went, all right, well, they've worked that out, so now what do we do? And that first goal was literally just pace. Like, our downfall is just one speedy forward that's just got through the entire team while we're on the front foot. And in the shot, if there's no deflection, then I'm pretty sure that's down the throat of Ethan Ross. But it was just kind of typified the start, really, didn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And like you said, I think you just picked up on it before. Before that, the minute and a half before that, whatever it was in their half, and that said a lot to me. I mean, obviously hindsight's a wonderful thing, but as the game wore on, and I'm sure we'll come to it, that became a theme of the match, didn't it? The ball was in their half more than it certainly was in ours.
The deflection of Mark Kitching.
So yeah, nasty deflection. Goalkeeper's union. You're not doing anything about that,
Wanderers.
from my perspective.
No.
If anything, I mean, could you be critical of Mark Kitchen for not committing to the block?
I think by that point, it's like it's a last line defence there, isn't it? And I think the issue more is that he's had, pretty much two entire halves of the pitch to run through unchallenged. Well, that's what I mean. It was pace, and it was like, weirdly, the longer the game went on, the more tired we got, the easier we found it to deal with the pace. And the first kind of 5 minutes, I was just thinking, like, they're going to just tear through us, literally just through using Kachunga and Isgrove and all these other really quick players that, they'll just sit back, let us have possession in front of the home crowd, and then just bang, bang, bang. And obviously the second one, similar in terms of the pace down the flank, obviously should never end up in the net. But yeah, like I say, after that, for me, it was like we somehow got to grips with it at half time. And then from there, it was kind of Bolton's only real asset on the night.
Yeah, it was. It was, absolutely. I can hear your voice is a bit hoarse, Sam. I can picking that
Just
up.
a little bit, yeah.
Mine is as well. And I think it's a theme as we look at these comments. HB, we think it's probably Harry Brookshaw. Is it? Good evening, gents. Voice still shot. Lower tier 6 was bouncing. I think everywhere was bouncing, to be honest. It was definitely bouncing up in upper tier 1, wasn't it, Nick?
That's when you know it's a big game, when there's like pockets of different songs being started at the same time.
Yeah.
I love that, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. Okay, so second goal then. I mean, it's...
And the cross is low. Oh, it's an own goal.
It's just out of
2-0.
nothing, innit? Out of nothing at all.
Ash Palmer, the unlucky man. And there
He's
was
actually
no Bolton player anywhere near it. A horrible moment for the non-league side.
I mean, yeah. The first thing is he's in a decent position for a centre half for the ball coming into the box, and it's just I think if he tried to do that clearance another 10 times, I think he wouldn't be able to slice it into the net the way he did.
Yeah.
On 9.9 of those times, like it was just. I don't even know how it's happened. I don't think he could say how it happened. I'm not sure what you two think, but like Ethan's kind of come out. He's diving for it, and
where's the shout? Yeah.
Which is going to be a recurring theme tonight. Where's the shout? I think. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you say recurring. We're going to talk about it twice, aren't we?
That's recurring. Yeah.
I know it is, but
that's the very definition of it.
No, but you're inferring that it's going to be like lots and lots of times, not just twice. So don't get smart.
Don't play bloody word games with me. I could go on to bloody Radio 4 for this, mate. Because we're in with the BBC now, as we'll talk about.
We are, yeah. We'll discuss that later. Yeah, I mean, I thought that Ross should have took more control of that. I think it's just a catalogue of errors. I mean, they both left it for each other. When Palmer did go to strike it, I thought he might have snatched at it. Maybe a bit nervous, but look, the player that Palmer is, the standing he's got in the club, all of the trust he's got in the bank already, you can let him off, can't you? Even if we'd have gone on and lost that match, you could let him off for that, I think. That'd be my opinion anyway. I don't know what you guys think.
And to be fair, like after that, he pretty much. I don't recall him making another mistake in the game. There might have been. I know, like last Saturday against Bromley, there was 1 or 2 misplaced passes early on from him.
Yeah,
but generally he's. I think he's one of those players that like we saw in the Hartlepool playoff, when he makes a mistake, it's like one big mistake that leads to a goal, and then no mistakes for another few months, but then another really big one that leads to a goal at an important time. Whereas there's some players that are like, as we've probably seen a little bit this season, that the mistakes come more regularly. Whereas Palmer, like I say, it's like a once every so often, but when it does come, it's kind of a biggie. And that last, 5 minutes for that to be the second goal. I think I put it on Twitter at the time, just saying it's just a case now of we're on live TV. Don't let it turn into 5-6, 7-0 or whatever.
Yeah.
Because again, like not just the fact that it's 2-0 after 5 minutes, but just going back to it, like just the way the goals came about, I just thought we're going to push more and more. The fans are going to be expecting more and more intent from us, and the more we do that, the more Bolton are just going to get it to Kachunga and get it to Isgrove and get it to all those players and Bakayoko and all those quicker players, and just burst down the other end. It almost felt like in the first tie, like obviously it was Dave Challiner's first game, and it was like they didn't know what to expect. Their scouting of us at that time would have been under Simon Russ, and maybe a little bit of a Dover game with Dave Conlon in charge, but they would have taken most of their research from Simon Rusk's teams this season, and then we turned up to Bolton and played nothing like what those teams played.
Good shout. Yeah, whereas, great shout.
Last night it was. I was just thinking, we had the chance at Bolton for them to not know what they were dealing with, and they've kind of got to grips with us now, and they're happy that they know actually, these are actually coming at us now, and we know how to deal with it. And I was just thinking that's the way the game's going to go. But I mean, I know we'll touch on it as the county goals start going in, but I mentioned it a few times. It was Bolton. It was like almost like Bolton were kind of going, no, we're going to be the worst defence. Like you're not stealing our you're not stealing our limelight. Like we're going to be worse than you. Like it was like for a League One side to be conceding the chances that they were, and I mentioned before we came on air. Like, I watched the full replay last night, and even at 2-0 and even at 3-1, the amount of times they just passed it to County's midfielders or to County's forwards, or passed it out of play, or just lumped it to no one upfield. And it was almost like how you'd expect the non-league team to play, just get it out, just get the ball away from our defence. And then when it did come at them, it was, I mean, obviously they couldn't deal with Scott Quigley for most of the night, but it was just like they were trying to outdo how bad we'd started defensively. And I think that's what let us into the game.
Because Alex Scott said in between full time and extra time, he said, "Oh, don't go expecting the next half an hour to be played with the same intensity," and it just was.
It just was, yeah.
I mean, you said, didn't you, Ross? It was like a kids' game at points. Just everyone, everyone wants to go forward. Yeah,
everyone wants to go back. It was like everybody wanted to go forward but couldn't be asked tracking back. And it was like basketball in the end. I mean, let's bring it back to the defensive errors then, and we'll concentrate on this bit because it's part of the highlights. I have turned the commentary down, so thanks to T for that recommendation. Really appreciate that. So, just a question then before we get onto the sort of the second defensive error, really, or the third, if you like. Do you think the defense is leaking too many goals, or that this defence is good enough and will become more consistent under DC? I've got my own opinion of that, but what do you think?
It'll be right. It'll be all right. Everything's going to be all right, Russ.
Everything's going to be all right. I'm going to be a spaceman. I'm going to be a spaceman.
Yeah, I mean, we've conceded, 6 goals under Challoner in 3 games, and all 6 of them for me have been our doing.
Yeah,
they've been our doing. Like the 2 at Bolton, the first goal at Bolton, Liam Hogan passes it into their midfield, and then the car was open with a good ball through, but it all kind of comes from us having possession. The second goal, they're in acres to have the shot at Ross. He saves it, and then the follow-up in acres again. Bromley, they've not even had a shot on target and somehow got a 1-1 draw. And then last night, obviously the goals speak for themselves. So, if you look at it on the face of it and think, it's 6 goals in 3 games under the manager. But I mean, Dave Challoner said last night in the press conference after the game, he said, as far as I'm concerned, we scored 8 goals on the night last night. He said we're responsible for every single goal that went at both ends, and that's kind of, to me, that's encouraging, because if we're just getting carved open and by every team we come up against and conceding chances after chances, and then you kind of don't know where to start. But the fact that, for me, in the main, we're looking solid, and then we're having these individual mistakes.
Yeah,
means that they can be pretty easily cut out. So I think it's probably a good sign that the goals have happened how they've happened. I mean, Dave Challoner, I know he didn't set the world alight as a player at a tough time for the club here, but for a centre half that's played countless games in the Football League, I don't think you can have a better person really to come onto the training ground and kind of show him what's what.
And not forgetting as well, Clint Hill. I think he's left Hartlepool, hasn't he? That's going to boil some piss as well. Piss some boil. It's going to boil some piss as well.
On the subject of Hartlepool, there was a nice little thread on their forum last night entitled BBC 2 tonight, and it's great. It's great as a timeline of the game. It's absolutely fantastic because it goes from fuck off Challoner, have some of that, you Judas. Just for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
It's football, isn't it? And the stick when we were 2-0 down on Twitter from countless Hartlepool fans, but it's football, isn't it? And at the end of the day, they wouldn't be so pissed off if Challoner was a flop. You know, it's a good sign for us, isn't it? If we've gone and taken a manager that had done nothing and was, you know, relegation fodder, then no one's going to care. But the fact they're so open arms about it, it's clearly a good sign for us.
It's like Curzon Ashton taking Rusk off us, and us just being like, fuck's sake.
I'm all for it. The amount of I'm just glad it's us. You know, the amount of piss boiling we've had over the years. You know, from FC United. Our podcast account, when we got beat by FC United, just got an influx of dickheads tweeting us about, you know, these United fans that weren't really United fans, and well, not FC United fans, sorry. So it's great that it's us. I'm all for it, definitely.
This is for all the people who went to Workington and North Ferriby and Brackley. And
absolutely. Okay, let's watch a bit more of the stream. So
now Madden quickly on to Sarcevic.
That one, Sarcevic 1-on-1. I heard. I watched the Thogden. I contributed to the Thogden numbers today. They were pretty pissed off. Yeah, they were pretty pissed off in their end that he
with the clearance.
Stonewall penalty that he'd got that. Well, sorry, they were pissed off about him obviously moving, but they were happy that he'd missed that 1-on-1. What do you think about the penalty?
Stonewall, innit?
Yeah.
No,
he's not missing, is he? He's not missing there. And I think it was kind of the start of Ryan Rydell's evening, really, wasn't it? He won the penalty, 2 assists. Just no arguments really. It's, you know, I've not seen anyone at any stage say that it was a debatable penalty. So
no.
And it was, you know, even after the 2 goals, it was kind of all county really. So the goal at that time, I think it was 25 minutes in to make it 2-1, was just, it was like, yeah, right, you actually thinking, right, this is going to be 2-0 in no time. And obviously we kind of contrived to basically score a goal, but just unfortunately at the wrong end.
Yeah, and I think that's probably the next bit of the highlights I'm hoping. I'm not hoping, but you know what I mean. It's a nice little penalty from Madden, tucked it away.
That's a very composed penalty.
With his Irish armband.
Yeah, not good on well.
So this one, long ball straight through.
There is Kitching, the goalkeeper's nowhere.
So
3-1, Bakayoko.
Again, goalkeepers union. I'm saying goalkeeper's got to stay for me.
Yeah. Which is what Kitchen's saying to him as well.
Yeah, don't know what he's doing there, Ethan Ross.
He's clearly not got a shout out of him.
Bolton restore their 2-goal lead.
If Ethan stays where he is, it's Mark Kitchen plays that exact header.
Yeah,
and it goes into Ethan Ross's hands.
Yeah,
but then if you're gonna come. If you just, you know, if you're take Kitchen with you, you know,
exactly,
just take it all. And part of me did think when in the press box, I had the BBC stream up and I was kind of watching it back, and part of me trying to not just say, right, it's all Ethan Ross's fault and that's that. I was trying to look at the goal and thinking like, what else could we have done? And kind of part of me thought, well, is Mark Kitchen not seeing this massive unit running towards him? But then even that, it's like, well, if you're Mark Kitchen and you've got the ball, you're moving backwards towards your own goal. Even if you do see him, what else can you do? You can't head it back over your own head. You can't. You're looking at the goal. Like there's no possibly head it, you know, away outside of the posts. But the speed that Bakayoko was going at, he got to the ball anyway. So even if it's outside the posts, you wouldn't bet against Bakayoko getting there anyway. So, it's an Ethan Ross mistake. Ultimately, I think that's kind of the bottom line on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, one thing noticeable about Bolton, some of their players were very, very quick, weren't they? I mean, I know we've got some quick players, like not as quick as South Wales, I don't think any of them, or maybe on a par. But there was a time in the second half, and Madden had a right battle with that. Was it with number 5 all night? It did really well. But there was an element in the game in the second half, and maybe we'll see. I don't know, where we had a bit of right wing play. Madden found himself in a 1-on-1 chase with one of their lads, and Madden had about a 5-yard head start, and his lad still got to the ball before him. Yeah. So they did have a lot of fast players. So you're right, it's difficult for Kitchen that. I think the thing for Kitchen is he's got one thing to do, and that's head it back to the goalkeeper. To me,
yeah,
that's it.
Like I say, yeah, exactly. And like I say, if Ethan Ross stays at home and that header goes exactly as it did, it's straight to him. Like it's Ethan Ross picks it up, we go upfield, and it stays 2-1. So yeah, it's like I say, for me, I don't. It's ultimately it's an Ethan Ross mistake that it goes down as, and I don't really think Matt Kitchen can do anything differently than what he did.
I'm not sure if anyone else picked it up after the third goal, if anyone else noticed it, but the Bolton players went to get the ball out the back of the goal and everything, congratulate the scorer, and they were all having a bit of an animated discussion as though they definitely weren't happy with how they were playing. Because even then, you were saying, weren't we, like, we can win this.
We're
playing better than these,
literally at no point did I feel like, other than immediately after their second goal on 5 minutes, I didn't feel at any point like we were out of the game.
No.
Because their 3 goals have come from us. And then we just, like, I watched the second half back in full, and, BBC commentators are kind of so often in the second half are just kind of repeating Bolton have been nowhere near Stockport's goal. Like, Bolton can't live with them. And I know the second half was more dominant than the first, but even in the first, maybe not clear-cut chances on goal, but the Sarcevic one that we just saw, like, there was a few half chances, there was a few clearances to the edge of the area that kind of we had a shot and it came to nothing. Like, they didn't. I can't think of any big chances they had other than 3 goals, which, I mean, I'm not even sure you can class any of them as chances.
No,
they've had a shot from outside the area, an own goal, and a backwards, a header back over his own keeper that he's tapped in. So I think maybe in the second half we had that one from Isgrove that he kind of flashed across the face of goal, and Ethan Ross parried it away, and which we might see. But other than that, I don't even think they had a chance on goal. So yeah, it was kind of as dominant as it could be, really.
I don't remember another chance on goal actually for them. This is the second, and this is a lovely bit of play. Again, I've seen Bolton fans saying it was their doing; they should have picked him up. But
and there's Quigley.
No, I mean that's just a good centre forward header. I mean he picks up the ball deep anyway, gets himself in. Look where he is. Gets himself in the box.
Yeah, well, he started the move.
That's what I mean. Yeah,
I mean, absolutely amazing.
That's what I mean. Number 3 plays him on side. Proper strikers finish that, and for me, I said to you last night, Nick, didn't I? Quigley is fast becoming my sort of cult hero now. He's he scored at Bolton away. He got a couple last night. His hold up play is just phenomenal. It's really good, big strong lad. He reminds me of, you said Becky. He reminds me a bit of Brett Angel, actually.
Yeah, he's very agile for a big lad. But what I saw someone Yellowboard describe him as someone great touch for a big man as well. Someone on Yellowboard described him as a rhino in ballet shoes, and I just thought that's it, spot on.
Yeah.
The rhino in ballet shoes.
Yeah, he's yeah, I think the one element of Simon Rusk's kind of tenure this season that I have a little bit of sympathy for is that he didn't have Scott Quigley. But even if he did, I'm not convinced at all that he'd be getting anything like as much as Challoner's got out of him in 3 games. Just agreed. I mean, like I kind of last night I had a look on Twitter at, like, I just kind of searched certain players' names on Twitter that I thought had a particularly good game, just to see what like neutrals were saying, and there was 2 that were just getting, like, you could tell they'd kind of given a really good impression, because just the number of just random clubs supporters saying, "Oh, we need to sign Scott Quigley in January, or we need to sign Macaulay Southern Hales," and just, I mean, we've all been there where we watch, there's nothing else on, so you'll whack a game on TV and it's some lower league game or an FA Cup tie or whatever, and you're not too familiar with the players, but you see one that catches your eye, and I think watching it back last night in full, even trying to take myself out of like the bias of County and just watching it, trying to be kind of imagining that on a neutral, he's so eye-catching, like the way he plays, and that goal. I mean, it doesn't quite show it on the highlights, but he wins it on halfway, kind of near the pop side, and I think he holds off his man for about 3-4 seconds before moving over to the main stand side, rolling it out, and then even like the way he moves into the box, it's very deliberate. Like jogging, like ambling, but it's not ambling through being lazy. It's like, right, if an in-swinging cross comes in, I'm timing my run so that I'm not just busting a gut to get into the box, and then I'm just kind of stood in no man's land, really.
Yeah, it's timing, isn't it? Rather than anything else.
Yeah, and both of his goals have come. I'm just watching that one there, and his second one's very similar as well. Both goals he scored, he's in between both centre backs on 2 occasions, and I just think they obviously couldn't live with him in terms of his hold-up play, but even his movement for a non-league striker, his movement to be outfoxing 2 League One centre halves, and even to the extent of they can see him, but they don't know where he's moving to or where he's going to be when the ball comes in. They don't know whether to stand off or get tight to him, or I mean, I don't think it would have made a difference even if he did know the way he was playing last night. But I just, you watch that and kind of think he's not, he's kind of so far beyond the National League striker.
Yeah.
So we're kind of lucky to have him, I think.
I mean, that's generally it for me. We've got to while we talk about this, we've consistently got to remind ourselves that we played against a League One team here. We went behind. We gifted them the goals, but we went behind 2 goals down on 2 separate occasions to a League One team, and still came back and did the business. It was just that and that's why. I mean, we'll come to the third one. In fact, I'm not going to say what I'm going to say because the third one's coming up soon. So we all lost our shit, I'm sure. Another comment. Waggy M's says Quigley's hold-up play was superb all night. I think it's been superb since he sort of got himself established in the team. Obviously, I didn't see him against Southend that much with his hold-up play. He was trying to get into the position to get some hold-up play, wasn't he?
The only thing he was holding up was his bloody hamstring. Sort this, lads.
He had a frustrating day at Notts County where we got beat 2-1, and looked on that day. I mean, I know he was coming back to fitness, but he looked. You kind of wouldn't think it's the same person that played last night. But you've got to remember as well, like the way we were playing at that time. He's probably thinking, who am I holding up? Who am I holding the ball up for?
Yeah.
Like he was holding the ball up, and then there was no one within kind of 10, 15 yards of him, either side. So I think Dave Challinor certainly has got getting the best out of him. Not just in goals, but link up play and bringing others into play as well, and connecting with the midfield, and connecting with Madden as well. Yeah,
absolutely. Philip Platt says, "What's wrong with Rooney? Not that he was missed. I don't think he was missed, to be honest. And I know that's give Dave Challinor a headache now. He picked up a knock against Bromley, didn't he?"
Yeah, so he said, I asked Dave Challinor last night, and he said, I'll just reel it off for whoever it is that asked. He said, so he came off on Saturday with a knock. He had to have an injection on Monday, and he's then had to have 48 hours of rest and then a day of recovery. We'll assess him on Friday, and the advice we've been given is that he will be okay after this treatment, but if not, we'll have to have a look at how he's going to feel long term. So... so he was injured, but
right.
I think Sarcevic coming into the team and not playing without Rooney I know we've kind of probably not seen the best of Sarcevic yet, but I think we saw a lot more out of him on and off the ball without Rooney in the team, because I think you're kind of playing two very similar players, positionally wise, when they're both in the team. And the fact that Rooney had to miss out last night, it kind of gave Sarcevic that role to be like bombing on and obviously getting that chance that he missed in the first half. And I think, you don't want to say it because obviously we'd prefer to have John Rooney fully fit, but I think Sarcevic playing in a county lineup that doesn't include John Rooney will probably be more beneficial to County than trying to shoehorn them both into the same side.
Yeah, definitely. Just before we carry on, we've got a little transition just for journalists, and I wanted to play it before I forgot. Should have played it right at the start. So are you okay if I do it now? There you go. That's just pretty much just for you, that, Sam.
I literally thought it was going to be some like Anchorman.
No. Pete's not that creative, unfortunately. No, it's quite classy. It's quite a classy thing. Yeah. Okay. Let's move on with the highlights.
Won back well by Rydell.
So again, look at the hold-up play again. He was doing it all night. It was great. And this just goes to show that it was in their end more than out, in their final third than it was in our final third. And I don't think the BBC are biased, are they? So, they're not really arsed, are they?
It was just. I think the commentator just mentioned it there as we were talking. It's one-way traffic at the moment.
Yeah.
Cranshaw continues.
And that was kind of the case for the whole half, really.
Yeah. Did you feel that the options that we had on the bench? I know you could name 9 subs and use 5, I think. Here's the header. With those substitutions, you can just add we added injections, didn't we, into the team, rather than when you've not got anything, on the bench to speak of in terms of attacking threat. You kind of lose your potency, don't you? So that goal, then, I mean, that was the goal where I think we lost our shit. I certainly lost my shit. I was hugging. There was 2 lads in the late teens, early 20s on the row in front of us, and I was hugging them. I was hugging my lad. I was hugging Nick. That I've not celebrated a goal like that for I don't know how long. Probably I don't know.
Yeah, I saw someone on Twitter saying it was up there in their top 3, like ever county like moments and like goals for the celebration. I can't remember. I think obviously like the Glenn Taylor goal with the Curzon Ashton game in terms of the celebrations, but it was a different kind of celebrations. And
yeah,
when the ground's that full as it was last night, the noise was just deafening. And I saw a video on Twitter of someone had kind of, I think they'd cut over, they were filming on the phone in the main stand, and they'd flipped it to show like Mark Stott and all the directors celebrating the third. I think it was a third goal, but it was kind of like even Simon Wilson, like who I know obviously gets a bit of a hard time. Even he was he seems really reserved and quiet and all those things. And even on the video, he was, he was clearly, he wasn't doing it for a camera. Like they didn't know we were being filmed.
No.
And they were all just I think Steve Bellis was in there, and they were all just kind of like jumping up and down in like a group hug.
Yeah, exactly what you're seeing in the stands was going on.
Yeah, exactly.
It
was like that little shot was like, you just knew that was happening in every row of every like stand, of every county stand. But yeah, just like one of those where I can't even remember like if I can't even remember seeing Palmer head it in. Like I can't think back to it happening. I can just remember like the general noise, and it's definitely I can't think of many others that generated that kind of noise.
Yeah. C. Etheridge, celebration's not been seen like that since Hardiker's winner. I mean,
Dave Turner said that last night, to be fair.
Did he? So he agrees.
I mean, winner, yeah.
I mean, we had the we had the playoff final, didn't we? But still, it didn't seem like. I mean, if we look at the circumstances, Palmer's goal last night was back from 3-1 down against a team 2 divisions higher than us.
That's exactly. I think it's the unexpected nature of the event that brings the limbs. See, also, I said Glenn Taylor. It was the fact that all hope was gone, and it's that's what elevates. Same with like when you think of like the West Ham and Southampton Cup games and what have you.
Yeah,
same thing there.
Yeah, but you know the Glenn Taylor one. I'm chalking the Glenn Taylor one off because yes, it was great, but that didn't happen in front of us. It wasn't a goal that happened in front of our very eyes.
But via the wonders of modern technology, we were living it, and it was a goal just as it was a goal just as important as any of the ones we scored. It was still pivotal to us. As Lim's moments go, it's up there.
Right.
I think.
So importance, and it was pivotal. Yeah, absolutely. But it didn't happen in front of your eyes, and that takes away some. You didn't see it as it actually happened.
Yeah.
But in a way, when we're telling it for years to come, the best thing about the story is that we were like 200 miles away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That is still what makes it for me. I'm not arguing with you or anything. I was just I was just thinking out loud. Really, I'm sorry, mate. I won't do this again.
No, I think we're having a Manchester argument, aren't we? We're violently agreeing. No, it's just. You can't. It's got to happen in front of you, and I still. I was racking my brains today. I can't think of one. Hardiker. I don't know because we weren't behind, were we not? We weren't behind to a team that were supposedly a lot better than us. That where we'd come back from 2-0, 2 goals down. I don't actually think we've ever done it. I'm not. I can't remember that we've ever done that. We've come back from 2 goals down to a team 2 divisions higher than us.
Yeah, I mean, in my lifetime, not in my lifetime, but that I can remember. I mean, even since dropping out of, like, I was chatting after the game last night to John Kieran, and he said it's probably the best since we dropped out of the league. And I think he was probably even including like Nuneaton and games like that in terms of the celebration.
Yeah. I think so.
And, yeah, I mean, I remember Scott Spencer scored at the
Chester.
Yeah, I mean, we lost. It was to come back to 2-2.
Yeah, we lost 4-2. Didn't we? I think
we lost 4-2, and it wasn't. It was just to get through to the. I think that was the final qualifying round.
Yeah,
and it obviously, it was a big attendance, but I don't know. It just didn't. We lost the game, and it wasn't ever one that kind of still sticks out. But I think last night as well, the fact that it was Ash Palmer, because it takes away a little. It doesn't take away, but if that's Ben Barkley smashing that header in, the noise would still be unreal and all those other things. But I think it just makes it that little bit more like special because of who it is.
Yeah,
and the fact that we're on live TV with the stadium all done up and like Paddy Madden and Sarcevic and Crankshaw and all these Football League players, but it's like the same old like heroes from the Conference North that are coming with us and dragging us out of the shit.
Yeah,
and I think that just added to it as well.
Don't forget the absolute character of the man to go from scoring that horrific own goal to redeeming himself like that. Like you said earlier, Sam, he didn't make a mistake after that. Not that we can remember anyway. So to come and score that 3rd goal, it was just limbs, wasn't it? It was just absolute limbs.
It's weird because obviously we'll see the 4th in a second, but with it being at Cheadle End, it's probably the most limbs of any of the 5 goals, really.
Yeah, and brilliant goal, and the fact that it was at the Cheadle End and we'd not scored many at the Cheadle End this season as well. It took us a while, didn't it?
Yeah.
That goal.
Again, like in between the 2 centre halves.
Yeah.
Both goals he's got in between the 2 centre halves, and if you can do that and keep look at him holding him off when he does get tight to him, then you're on to a winner. And he's if you can do that to 2 League One centre halves, then and even the goal on Saturday as well. Like he showed that he's not just like a battering ram. He brought it down on the edge of the area, and just kind of cut inside his man, put him on the floor, and then even with the goal in front of him, has just slotted it into the corner and sat the keeper down. And it's like, it is that kind of finesse. Even
what a goal! Not my
man.
words. The words of Sam Byrne on commentary.
Yeah. I thought it was brilliant. Even the goal at Bolton, it looks like he's just picked up a lazy pass and slotted it in. But when you watch it back, his touches to get around the defender in the first game. I mean, he's had 2 touches. He's had the first one to take him round the man, second one to set it, and then slot it under the keeper. And I think every goal he scored for us, it has just been like his ability, his quality, rather than. I know it was a mistake for the first goal at Bolton, but he's then still had quite a bit to do.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Every goal has been his making rather than just a mistake or a tap in or whatever. It's been a real kind of goal of quality each time.
Yeah. No, it has, and that's. I mean, everything you're saying is the reasons why he's becoming fast. My one of my favourite players, and Viva Scott Quigley, as far as I'm concerned. Just on that goal that we just saw, that reminded me of. Do you remember Anthony Elding against Hartlepool? Was he to make it 3-0? Or was it?
Yeah.
Remember that one? I think it's quite a similar goal.
Yeah, I remember watching that in the Cheadle end, and I was like, "Why is everyone celebrating like it's not gone in?" Because I think it like clips the crossbar and just kind of it bounces down, and it's like, but it was just. I remember thinking they've given the goal just because he's celebrating.
Like 66 all over again.
But yeah, I know what you mean. That kind of little dinked finish. But again, like I mentioned, it's come from a brilliant through ball by Madden, but it's come from Quigley getting in between the defenders. And Santos is. I think he struggled a bit as the night went on, but he is a big unit and he's a big League One centre half, and he just kind of Quigley's just kind of bullied him really. For him to do that to a League One side, hopefully there's a lot more to come through in this season.
Yeah, another player we've not mentioned yet, who because he'll be coming off shortly in the highlights, but Southern Hales. I thought he was one of the players who went backwards the most under us, but last night was exactly what. It was quality, absolute. Up until the second he went off, he just never stopped running. Absolutely immense.
Yeah, I was quite frustrated with him under Simon Russ this season because I just thought he could be. This is the 5th goal, I think.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It's forward towards Crankshaw. He can finish it here, and he does.
Yeah, that's the 5th goal. Yeah, I agree with you. I think, but do you know what? With the men, if we actually look back at it now, compared, now we're seeing what Challoner's doing with him after 3 games in 2 weeks. Were there many players that didn't go backwards under Rusk?
No, but I think he's the one who went backwards the most. I think from how he was at the start of Russ' reign towards the end of Jim's as he was breaking into the team. I think he's the one who went backwards the most. I thought. But he was so direct last night. It just caused him no end of problems. I think was it 2 yellow cards he got him into as well.
I think that was the thing. Like for me last night, you could almost see him shaking off the lack of confidence that he had under Russ this season. Because a fair few times this season, I've been frustrated with him. Like if you'd ask like Liam or any of the lads in the press box, the amount of times I've turned to him during a game and just kind of, put my head in my hands or whatever, because you just know he's just a brilliant player. He's probably, for me, the quickest county player I've ever seen. I can't remember a county player quicker than him in my lifetime. And it was more frustrating because you know how good he is. The amount of times he turned back, like he'd run at a man down the flank and then turn back and just play it safe or not really sure what to do, and then he'd get a foot in. And it's like, you're clearly a brilliant footballer. You've got all the pace in the world. You can terrify any fullback in the division. And you just play him sideways and backwards. And it was like he'd just cowered into a shell, really. But last night, as the game went on, you could almost see him shaking off any remainder of that lack of confidence. Because I think he started off not slowly, but he started off. He grew into the game, and as the game went on, like there was examples of like times where Bolton would be like seeing the ball out for a throw in their own half, and he's got no reason to chase it down, and he just bursts down the flank and gets a nudge on his man, and still concedes a throw in, but the fans are all up, and it's like he's got no reason to go for it. He didn't really get anything out of it, but it was like he was believing more and more as the game went on that like he had him on toast, and he's that how he played last night. That's kind of who we signed, last summer.
Yeah.
And it's no coincidence for me that Dave Challoner worked with him at Hartlepool, and he tore us apart in the game at Hartlepool last year under Challoner, as did Kitchen, to be fair. So yeah, like you said, Nick, for it to be 2 weeks and 3 games in charge, and for him to be getting so much more out of these players, like Rydell as well. Like we mentioned earlier, 2 assists, 1 the penalty. That corner for the Palmer goal, like unreal. I know Palmer's kind of come onto it and smashed it in, but I think anyone could have got onto the end of that. The way he put it right into the 6-yard box, and into that kind of dangerous area where the keeper can't get it and the defenders can't get a head on it. For him, like Rydell, he either wasn't getting a game under Russ, or when he was, he just looked terrified.
Yeah.
So I think, it's the work that Challoner's done in a fortnight is definitely encouraging for what he can carry on doing, and like even on a smaller scale, Arjan Reiki as well last night. He came on in the second half and then played the extra time, and even he was looking a lot more composed, and
Brilliant.
played a brilliant through ball for the assist, but also one before that where he kind of like half volleyed it down.
Yeah.
We've
been thinking about that non-stop for like, since then. Yeah. On Rydell as well, and I noticed of his 2 assists, one was right-footed, one was left-footed, which was very, very Lee Todd.
Yeah, good goal. Yeah, but we signed him on a 3-year deal as a young player from a Football League club, and it's like, right, we've very clearly got a player for the future. Who, the fact we signed him for a fee on a 3-year deal suggests that he's coming into the team now. It's not like he's not going into the, he's not going to be going out on loan to a National League North club, or he's not going to be going into the reserves. But then, for whatever reason, he just wasn't really getting a look in. And when he was, it was as a bit part player, or like I say, he didn't ever look like he was capable of producing what he produced last night on a regular basis. So, I think Challoner's already showing what he can get out of players and how he gets it out of them. So it's kind of really promising.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me. I'm just going to go and get another beer because mine are in the fridge. Mine aren't next to me, so I'm going to let you two lads crack on with the next.
I'm going to go and get one as well.
Well, you go and get one then. God, you go and get one, and I'll stay here. Go on.
Well,
go on.
This is where Sam needs to learn some close-up magic or something. You can just entertain everyone with that.
So yeah, the Reiki. I mean, I pulled out the Reiki sort of sidewinder half volley through ball to Rydell. I think it was.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, Reiki is straight away. As soon as he steps on the pitch, you could tell. You could tell he was class. I remember when I used to play in my early 20s, and a lad who used to work with said, "Oh, he used to play for Eastleigh, this lad." And Eastleigh were like, I don't know, 2 divisions lower than they are now. And I was like, Eastleigh, yeah, whatever, mate. But honestly, as soon as he came on the pitch, you could tell he was mustard. Same with Reiki. Same with Collar as well. I think the first time we saw Collar was, I think we all agreed that he's a player. But Reiki, yeah, it does beg the question why Russ wasn't playing him. We don't know why, but his cameo last night was just superb. And if we can get the best out of him, but then I started to think, well, there's him, there's Collar, you've got Croasdale, you've got Rooney, Sarcevic. We're just blessed with so much talent, aren't we, in the squad? It's going to be a really, a really good sort of man management and balancing act for Challoner to get the best out of these players. I'm going to go and get a beer. You talk to Nick.
Yeah, what we could do though with all these players, we could convert to rugby, and then is it 15? I don't know. I don't know rugby.
Yeah, rugby league. Yeah, 15. No, I think he's Dave Challoner's already shown how he can manage the group, and like he's it's interesting because, like we mentioned Russ there, in terms of not playing the likes of Reiki and Rydell, and like you said, Russ, like, oh, we don't know why he wasn't playing, and it's not even like with people like Rydell or Reiki, it's not even like, behind the scenes or closer to the club, we knew why. It's not like we knew or people around the club knew why he wasn't playing. Everything was just so kind of close to the chest, and it was so kind of, I don't want to say paranoid, but just so cagey about everything, and it wasn't like the questions weren't being asked of why aren't these players getting minutes. And I'm actually kind of, so far Dave Challoner's just been an absolute dream to work with from a media point of view, because like last night after the game, I ran through with him a few individuals, and I was almost expecting the answers we'd get under Russ, which was, we're seeing how he is, or we're assessing him, and we'll see on the day, and not really passing any real comment, or even if it wasn't about injury, even if it was just, commenting on someone's performance on the day, it would always come back to but I'm more interested in the team performance, and it was just never, it was just always very non-committal. And Dave Challoner, I mean, I ran through with him Rooney, Reiki, Collar, and he's just so open with, and it was interesting because I asked him about Reiki and Will Fish on Monday, and he came out with that thing that I put online about they both need to be, I can't remember how he phrased it, but he was basically saying they both need to be standing up and saying, I can do what you need me to do.
Yeah, saw that. Yeah.
And it was, it wasn't a case of anyone putting words in his mouth. He knew what he was saying, and he knows why he's saying it. And like last night, I asked him about Will Collar, and he praised him, said how well he played, and I said, oh yeah, but the thing is, he's a bit safe, and he needs to be, with all the ability that he's got, he needs to be playing forwards. And it's like, you're just listening to him thinking, this isn't someone digging out a player. Like, he's literally, you listen to him thinking, he knows exactly what he's doing. Like, he knows exactly why he's saying what he's saying. And it's not just a case of him coming out and just slamming someone.
Yeah.
He's literally, he's this thought behind it, and he knows that it's almost like he knows already what kind of reaction he wants from different players. And right, I can say this about Arjan to kind of get a reaction out of him, whereas someone else, I might need to speak with them privately and big them up in public. And it's just like, it's almost like it is like having a proper man manager in charge again.
You've just said the two words that I've been thinking about for the past 30 seconds, which is, it's that man management, isn't it? And giving them, it's almost like you're giving the players confidence without actually you don't have to say to them, do you? You're a really good player. I think to give them confidence, you can do it in sort of second-hand, third-hand ways. And the comment there that we've got in just for the podcast audio listeners, confidence was missing with Reiki and Collar especially. Fantastic footballers now playing with their tails up. That's Joe Inglesford. So it just plays into what you were just saying there. Is that it's the intricacies, isn't it, of the man management, and it's so important. It's so important, and maybe Russ didn't have that. I mean, I don't want to talk about too much about the old manager, but yeah, it looks like in 2 weeks we've had Challoner 2-3 weeks now.
2 weeks,
He's in 3 games. He's got the man management nailed down.
He's undone 9 months of damage in like the space of 2 or 3 weeks. It's just amazing.
Like I say, he just, it's not, this isn't saying that we're going to win every game and everything's going to be amazing for the rest of time, but it's like the thing of the thing that we had with Jim, where it was like, even when things did go wrong on any given day, like you just had confidence that there was a bigger picture plan in place. And just going back to like the individuals, and as the fella mentioned there about Collar and Reiki having more confidence now, like for the life of me, I couldn't tell you what Simon Russ thought of any of the individual players at the club. Like I don't know whether he what he thinks of Ben Hinchliffe, what he thinks of Macaulay, any player in the squad. I just didn't. There was no way of knowing whether he rated them or didn't rate them. And even if you look at it and go, well, you can see he didn't rate this player because he didn't pick him for 3 months. He went through a spell last season not picking Jordan Keane for 6 weeks, maybe longer.
Yeah,
and it was like, right, he's done. He's going in the summer, and then he's in the team every week.
Yeah,
on the drop of a hat. Like there was just no way of knowing what. And that's not a problem if he knows. He doesn't have to tell the public what he thinks of the players, but as long as he knows. But it was just, you just had that feeling that he didn't. Or if he did, it was just so open to change week by week. Whereas Challoner has just seemed to have this. He's either got an idea of a player already, or he's got a perception. I think he said to John in his first interview, he said, I've got the perceptions, and it's up to the players to either confirm them or change them. And he's given them more chances to do it. Like he's not, if someone like Will Collar had not performed in these last few games, he couldn't turn around really and say that he wasn't given a chance. As it happens, Collar's done really well, and I thought he was brilliant last night. But they're all being given chances to either fail or succeed under him. And I think the longer that goes on, and the more that he gets his own players in down the line as well, I think that can only be a good thing, really.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got some comments in about Rusk and whether he was the worst manager we've ever had. I don't think we should go into Rusk ball.
No.
I mean, one thing I will say is I don't think you can oversee an 18-match unbeaten run, no matter what the circumstances, and be the worst manager. But whatever.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, Russ. Would you like a bit of unsubstantiated message board rumours that might interest you? According to a thread on the Rotherham message board.
Oh, the Rotherham message board. Oh,
yeah,
wow.
yeah.
You bet you have been doing your own work, haven't you?
Well, no, this is from a friend of the podcast, Ben Walker, who sent this, so I can't take credit. But there's a thread, according to a thread on the Rotherham board, the game's being moved to Friday night on police advice.
Oh, right.
So yeah, nothing official yet, but that's what people in Rotherham are saying, and they know their stuff because they've got an internet connection. So can't be lying. They've got an internet connection and an electronic device. So fully expect the game to be on Sunday afternoon.
Can we just sort of segue? I mean, we'll come back to County in a minute, but can we just segue onto commentators and this? I'm probably going to do this every single year, and I make no apology for it. But commentators and the non-league. This lack of homework that they do with the matches that they're commentating on, and I tweeted it the other day, didn't I, Nick? That was it, Mark Pugash. I love that Pugash.
Yeah. I know you love it, but it's not his name. So if you ever meet him,
I know it's not.
Like, are you Mark Pugash?
Pugash.
How old are you?
Oh, I know, but I got into a conversation on Twitter about like level pegging, Urban Dictionary and Profanosaurus. It was amazing. Anyway, Matt Pugash, so funny. But he said something that really wound me up in the Solihull Wigan match. That was it. That the Solihull players wouldn't be used to, because they're non-league. They wouldn't be used to playing on the telly. That's what he said.
The games aren't filmed.
It's not, but then BT Sport as well as like the major thing. And I just thought, what?
It was even worse than that because he actually said they're not used to playing in front of cameras, which narrows it down even more.
It makes it sound like the Solihull players are going to come out like cavemen, like, oh, what's that?
Yeah.
Camera.
Yeah. No, me no play.
Yeah, it does get under my skin when if people do, criticise commentators commentating on lower league or FA Cup football involving lower league teams or non-league teams, and you get people going, oh well, just be thankful that we're on TV or we're getting the airtime. Like, no, it's the job. They're getting paid to commentate on the game on the two teams that are playing. It's not. They have the internet, like John Kieran, for as long as I've been doing this role, he has like a full
dossier
documentation on every team we play and every single player and where they've played and when we were in the Conference North, like what the day jobs were for all of them, just everything. And like half of it, I don't even know where he found it, but
I'm sure he had his sources.
Yeah, it's the job to, it's not an impossible task. They're commentating on two professional football teams.
Yeah,
it's all the information's out there. Like, or get yourself on social media and ask a few fans, and it's not impossible. And it just they could make it a lot less patronising and a lot less cringeworthy very easily. So to be fair, I thought, I don't know what you two thought, but on the replay last night, I thought Martin Keown was all right. He's
not normally a fan of him,
the time. Yeah, he'd obviously taken the time to, at least know who he was talking about, and even if he didn't have the most in-depth knowledge on certain players, he'd just pass his opinion on what he thought of their performance. Or and he's got the insight to back it up because he's played at, he won the Premier League. He's played at the highest level. So stuff like that, I thought it was pretty good. And like I say, they could make it a lot less patronising, very easily. But decide not to.
With a bit of thingy. Yeah, last night the commentator mentioned our new stand. I mean,
I'll let him off with that one though because of the cladding and that. I'll let him off on that because it basically isn't. And look at it basically is a new stand, isn't it? New seats,
right?
New inside.
It is right, but Nick, right? All they've got to do, seriously, is email one of us. That's all they've got to do. Email a county fan, and I'm sure any county fan will go, yeah, I'll tell you a few things, of course, yeah. And it's sorted, isn't it?
Well, it's like you did the German thing.
Yeah, but the Germans. Yeah, I just going to say, Sam, I don't know if you know, but for West Ham last season, it was on German telly, and the German commentator who was commentating on it, live, wanted to chat with me, and we had an hour on the phone where he was asking me all the different things about county and what he should say and what he shouldn't say.
You can't.
That's what he did. No.
Yeah, and like going back to the thing about the Cheadle end, the commentator has obviously he's no one's made him mention the Cheadle end being new or old. He's taken it upon himself to mention it. So if you're going to do that, get it right, or don't mention it. Just leave it. If you're not sure, just leave it because no one's going to go, oh, the commentary was really good last night. They mentioned the Cheadle end. Like, it's not. You can just let it fly. You don't need to worry about it. Or if you are, like I say, if you are going to mention it, get it right. But
get it right.
To be fair, generally, I thought the coverage was pretty good. They had Ashley Williams down at Carrington speaking to Dave Keller, and that was pretty good. Alex Scott and Dion Dublin, they clearly didn't know too much about county.
You leave Alex Scott alone.
I agree. But,
I've already been defending her to my missus all day. So she's not a home wrecker.
I'm right there with you.
PJRC. Alex Scott is an excellent presenter, isn't she, Nick?
She is, yeah.
I noticed with Alex Scott and Dion Dublin, though, because I watched it back early this morning. It was very much P.T. Barnum, wasn't it, with them two?
Yeah.
Saying generic statements that mean quite a lot. That you could have for anybody, any club, which can't really argue with that.
Do you reckon Dion Dublin went in the main stand and was like, "Oh,
Don't.
stairs up to the boardroom"?
Need to move the toilet. The toilet should be there. Love it.
While we're on the TV coverage, I thought I'd share the story of how friend of the podcast Will Howells, aka James Somerset, watched the game because he was actually at a gig last night. So he recorded it and muted all his notifications and everything, and then watched it fresh.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
So we got to the stage where I was at home buzzing because I couldn't sleep last night, and I was laying in bed thinking, I wonder where Will's up to on the game now. I wonder where he's up to. It's like you know when your mate starts watching like Breaking Bad or whatever, and you say, "Oh, where you up to?" He's like, "Oh, he's just got into business with Gus Fring," and you're like, "Oh, fucking yeah!" That's what I was like when Will was watching. He's like, "Oh, Palmer."
Yeah, I saw a tweet pop up saying, or I think I'd seen something online where he'd said, about watching the whole thing and turning off social media notifications before the game and not kind of speaking to anyone that would know about the result. And but I literally like to be a County fan and to watch your team go 2-0 down for 5 minutes, but knowing that you've got the like if he said to me last night after 5 minutes, I can tell you right now what the final score is going to be. I'd probably have to take it because I'd still want to enjoy the moment, but I don't think I could sit there knowing I've got the ability to know what the final result is, watching my team 2-0 down, because I'd just be sat there thinking, I'm going to watch my team get beat 7-0 here and and just sort of wasted an evening. But I mean, I literally can't watch a film without looking up the plot on Wikipedia before the film's ended to see how it ends, because I've just literally got that. Yeah, I just literally not. Wow. I mean, not if I went and sat in the cinema. Like I'm not sat in the cinema watching James Bond, looking up what happens at the end. But you know, if there's a film on a TV or something, and like my girlfriend's watching it or whatever, I'll be like, he dies. I want to know. Yeah. Oh, by the way, he dies in a minute. Or
won't bother watching it, love.
Yeah, but. Yeah, if for Will to be able to watch it and get through it and have the willpower, no pun intended. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to do that. So fair play to him.
Yes. What's he? Oh yeah, I've just seen a comment coming from Left Bollock. Oh, do you know what? What Nick? What? It's fucking.
No. I love that people just use this to bait you now.
I know they do. It's Ryan Left Bollock. Russ Johnson hasn't replied to my screenshots all day. Do you know what he does to me and Dave Philbin? He sends us screenshots of tweets that we've already clearly seen. I don't know how he's got the time for it on WhatsApp. I just really don't.
Yeah, I think in that few days where Challoner was leaving Hartlepool and it was all. No one was sure for a while how it was going to turn out. I remember I put something on Twitter about him being County's first choice, and it was all still moving ahead, blah blah blah. And I think I saw something in the replies where Ryan had I think he'd screenshotted my article and sent it to one of his mates, and his mate had just replied like, "You've just fucking tagged me in it on the send me the tweet."
I know. He was never. Do you know what? I basically piggybacked him through the whole of IT at school. So he's loving that he's getting a mention right now. By the way,
did he piggyback you through sex education?
So yeah. I mean, moving on. The commentators do our heads in, don't they? Should we just move back to the match? A special mention actually for the referee, because he let the game flow, didn't he? And he was inconspicuous by his absence, I think. So which was quite good. I mean, I know he booked a few players. He gave the penalty. He awarded the penalty, but it was all decisions that needed to be made.
Yeah, for me, I think the only not gripe because it went in our favour, but if you were watching the game as a neutral or as a Bolton fan, I think the only argument you could have was the dive for the penalty, which was a dive, but Paddy Madden had pulled his
outside the box,
outside the area, and Madden was on a yellow already, and I think if I'm a Bolton fan, or if that was happening at the other end, I'd be saying, well, fair enough, he's dived in the area, but should you not be pulling it back for the free kick? And Madden's got a massive chunk of his shirt.
Yeah, it was a cynical
But
one, wasn't it?
but I suppose maybe he's looking at it and thinking it's an advantage because he's got into the area, and then no one's made him tumble to the ground, and it's when you watch it back, it's clearly a dive.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that I was worried that Quigley's first goal, in fact, both of Quigley's goals, I was worried that both of Quigley's goals were offside. And then when you watch them back on BBC and they've got that offside camera, dead level, and then you actually think, fucking hell, fair play, because a National League linesman would probably bottle at least one of them. I say bottle, he'd probably give one of them offside. Because I think on the first one, the header, Madden's offside, and he doesn't get involved.
I think he is.
I think the National League linesman would. That's probably not as good as the linesman we had last night. Would probably panic seeing Madden offside and just flag, and then if he had his time again, he'd probably go, "Oh well, actually, the goal scorer's not offside, but it's too late by then. You've already flagged."
Yeah.
And then the second goal, when Quigley's in between the two and he lobs it over the keeper, again, like he's dead level with Santos, but it's almost on the blind side of the linesman. So again, if he'd have given it offside, it's almost one of those where you just, if that was a National League game and he gave it offside, you'd kind of go, oh well, it's National League officials. What can you do? So I think they were two of the biggest calls that I was actually really impressed with. I mean, they were both onside and they both got given onside. So he's made two correct calls, but I think I was more impressed with the fact that he could have very easily given them offside, even though they weren't. And the fact that he let them both go on and like you say, other than that, I don't really recall anything from the referee. The Rydell challenge is a penalty for our first goal. Don't think anyone can argue with the penalty that we got. Other than that, like you say, Russ, if you can't really think of anything he had to do or any big decision that he had to make, then that's kind of
it wasn't contentious from either side. And Darren Bolton says, who's interacts with us quite a lot. Referee was decent, let the game flow, didn't get much wrong at all. And I think Darren Bolton is a referee as well, Stockport referee. So it's nice hearing it from someone in the game. We've had a question come in from Ian Dowden. He's asked it twice now, so I need to ask you. And it was going back to earlier in the podcast. Do you think, Sam, that Hinchliffe should start ahead of Ross, given what we've seen last night and maybe the previous games as well?
I'd probably lean towards Ben for Saturday. And I mean, I think to be fair to Challoner, firstly, he's come in and gone with who was already in there.
Yeah.
Like he's got the history with Ben from Fylde. So he could very easily just to put him in. But it's not like Dave Challoner's come in and changed the goalkeeper himself. So he's come in and kind of continued on from what was already in place. And I think he's, like I touched on earlier, he's giving everyone a chance to sink or swim. And I mean, to be fair, the goals kind of speak for themselves, especially the third Bolton goal last night. But other than that, I don't think Ross, I think if you're being critical, you can say about in the second half, he punched a lot of crosses clear, which you can maybe say Ben would be coming and claiming. I think Ben was brilliant and is brilliant at coming, taking the pressure off the defence and claiming big crosses into the box. And I mean, I've lost count of the number of times over the years that we've been under pressure and Ben's come out and claimed a big cross and the cheetah line's gone up and the fans just go up for it. And I think if you've been critical, Ethan, punched a fair few last night. To be fair, if you're going to punch him, the main thing is get it right, and he did. So, he's not made a mistake in that regard. But I just think Challoner, we know how ruthless he can be to an extent. With we've seen with the likes of Liam Hogan. So I don't think he'll kind of shy away from making that call. I still maintain, though, I know Ethan Ross has had a couple of nervy moments in the last few weeks, but I still maintain that we've now got 2 goalkeepers who could conceivably be the number one. And I don't think one of them coming back in is the end of the other. Like I think I think both of them are still, at any time they could come into the team. And like Simon Rusk had mentioned when he dropped Ben a few weeks ago, it's not the end of Ben. Like it's not like Ben's on the bench now for the rest of the season and then he leaves the club at the end of the season and that's that. He said it is just a competition for places, and you can. To be fair, it was. I believed him at the time because I did genuinely think, and I still do, that it wasn't, like I say, it wasn't a case of one keeper coming in and that's the end of it for the other one. And even if that happens on Saturday and Ben comes back in, like I say, I'm still fully of the belief that they'll both get games this season. You'd like to think that one will come in and keep hold of the shirt because that means we've got a consistent keeper for the rest of the season. But there is scope for either of them to do a job. But for me, I'd be leaning towards Ben this weekend. And I just don't think he particularly did enough to warrant being dropped in the first place. I think the Halifax game, Matty Wobson had the low free kick that beat him. He probably should have done better with. And I think that's probably one thing that Ben would say himself is he is susceptible to those efforts from distance, especially the lower ones that kind of skid off the surface. But, we're talking about non-league goalkeepers, however good they are at this level, which they are, they're not going to be Edison or Allison. So, so for me, I'd be leaning towards Ben. I don't think Ben warranted being dropped by the former manager in the first place.
Yeah.
And I think this weekend would be a good time to do it because I'd expect that there'll be a few changes in the team anyway because of how tired they'll be from Wednesday night. So you can kind of incorporate it into one of several changes, if you see what I mean. But I mean, I don't know that that'll happen. For all I know, it may well be Ethan Ross that continues. We'll see. But for me, I'd be leaning towards Ben.
Yeah, Nick, do you think that Inchliff's unlucky because of the form that the team was in and the manager we were under? He's kind of been a bit.
I think it was just
unlucky.
a case of, well, I've tried everything else to stop this slide. Why not change my keeper? And
I think.
I genuinely think I think he might have seen the odd person on message boards moaning about his distribution. He might have just seen that and thought, right, fuck it, I've got nothing else. Because he didn't last very long after making that change. Once it was clear that wasn't the issue. I think they are very similar. I think they're both very similar in quality. They've both got the flaws. They've both got the strengths. And I think Ross could quite easily end up being our number one for a very long time.
Well, Ethan Ross is, he's early to mid 20s. He's on a 3-year deal. Yeah. And Ben, for all that he's been brilliant for us and will continue to be brilliant this season when he's called on, if that is Saturday or beyond, I think he's pushing 35 now, I think. And to be fair, for a keeper, it's nothing really for a goalkeeper. But if you look at the age profile of the two, and I know there's a few jokes about the 3-year deals that the club hand out, but I think if you look at it on paper, it's not hard to see that they've kind of earmarked Ethan Ross as the future number one. I just don't think at this time, like I say, I just don't think it had to be now. I don't think Ben at that time deserved to be dropped. And like you say, Nick, I remember at the time, Simon Rusk in the post-match interview just said, yeah, it's just to freshen things up. Like, you're changing your goalkeeper. You're not having like a spring clean. Like, you're changing one of the most important positions on the pitch because we just need to see what happens. Like, it almost felt like, you're a football manager and you're like, all right, I've lost like 4 or 5 in a row, so I'll just pick like a different left winger and just not really do anything differently with the team, but if I just swap out a player for another player and they might have a good game and get me out of trouble. There might have been more to it, but as I said earlier with the former manager, he was so kind of cards close to his chest. There was just no way of knowing if there was more to it or not. So yeah, I just don't think Ben, like I say, Ben ever did anything worthy of being dropped. Although I don't think he's made mistakes, but there've been a few goals that he could have done better on, like that Matthew Wolverton free kick at Halifax and a few others. But generally, show me a National League keeper or any lower league keeper or any goalkeeper that doesn't make a mistake, or at least doesn't let a shot in that they should save, or vice versa. So yeah, we'll see how it pans out on Saturday, but I would think it's a good time to bring Ben back into the fold.
I think for me, the main difference between the two is how much confidence the defence have in him. And I just think the defence have a lot more confidence in Hinchliffe, given that if you look at the back three last night, I mean, two of them have been playing with Hinchliffe for like 5 or 6 years. So, that's the only difference for me.
That comes with time, though, doesn't it?
Exactly,
time and playing together and the mistakes that were made last night.
He'll be our number one in the Football League, Ross will.
I hope so. I mean, experience, time with the back four, all these things, it all plays into it, doesn't it? So right, let's think about wrapping it up because we've been on an hour and 25 minutes. Doesn't seem that long, does it?
Oh God,
time flies when you're having fun, lads.
That's nearly as long as the match lasted.
Yeah.
Yeah, the actual football, you mean, not just the whole experience. The match day experience. Yeah.
There's some stuff coming up, isn't there, Russ?
There is some stuff. So I'll go first. We have a competition running. So please get involved in this competition. Tell your mates. We've teamed up with Andy 8 days a week. We're going to give away a Stockport County merchandise bundle. I think they call it a merch bundle, which includes one of this season's kits, actually. So that's a pretty good prize to win. All you got to do is subscribe to our YouTube channel.
And if you're watching us now, the button's there right underneath. Just hit it.
Exactly. Hit the button wherever the button is. I don't even know where it is. Where is it? Is the button over there? I don't know. Hit the button anyway. And when we get to 1,000, we'll select a winner at random. So it won't just be a shirt. It'll be a bit of a merchandise. So that's 8 days a week. And if you've not been to 8 days a week, get yourself there on Vernon Street in Stockport Market. Cracking fish and chips, cracking pies, award-winning pies, I believe.
Yes, award-winning.
Can definitely vouch for that. Yeah.
I can vouch for that. And they sell a pint as well. So happy days.
You don't just have to have one though. You can have as many as you want.
No, all right. They sell pints.
As we'll find out soon with something that we've got in the offing, but we're not going to say the names yet. But
no, we're not going to say the names. I'll let you take this one, Young. You say this one.
I'm not telling everyone who it is yet. They can wait. No, Sodom.
No, we're telling them what we're doing. Yeah,
we're doing a live show. It'll be at 8 days a week in January. It's a nice little post-Christmas treat. So if anyone wants to know what Christmas presents to buy their county-loving relatives, that will do. And yeah, it's going to be 2 ex-players. One of them, you're talking top 5 county legends ever. And the other one, you're talking a bit more recent and cult hero vibes.
Yes, there we go. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
And they've been together at the club at some point as well. They worked together at County. So get your maybe if someone manages to guess the combination without going into my Twitter DMs, then they can win a prize. they will sort a free ticket or something.
Oh, I love it. So I'm really looking forward to that. We've got some sound checking to do and all sorts of shit to do for that. Yeah. Anyway,
we should probably come up with some content for that one because we can't rely on beating Bolton every fucking week.
I know. Just to say, as I always do, if you're not on it yet, get on the Fan Hub app. Over 550 county fans are now in the Fan Hub app. Get checking into the games and predicting your lineup and consuming our content there as well, because that helps us out if you consume all our content. Hatters TV, a new county vlogger, is on there, young lad. doing some really good vlogs at the moment. That feed is in there as well, so you can get all that. And we are doing rewards soon, so we're teaming up with the Terrace, so we can do some. You can win some rewards with the Terrace just by checking in. Excuse me, my voice is going because of last night. Just by checking in. Just by checking in and using the app, basically.
This feels like I've gone to see Elbow, and like it's the encore, and they're doing One Day Like This, and Guy Garvey's voice has just gone. It's like throw those. Oh!
Just last night, honestly, last night has done me in. And we've got the latest blog is out as well, which I'm going to reshare actually, because we did it before the Bolton match, but it's even more pertinent now, really. What makes a county legend, and some of the lads that are on that he mentions on there, Minion, Palmer, Keane, you know, they're in contention and they've done themselves. I mean, they're probably legends anyway. I think, well, they are, but it's even more heightened now after the Bolton match. You know, it's so that's just focused it in. I mean, especially Palmer. I mean, Keane had an absolute belter as well. That's something we didn't discuss. I don't think we've really got time for it now, but who were the standout players? Who was your man of the match? And maybe that's a question for the end when we've done more admin. We'll finish on that.
Or maybe it's a question that we can kind of tease now and bring up on the Geordie Hatter Away Day show on Saturday morning, where I will be joining him.
You're getting better at this.
I tell you, mate. I'm no good at that though. I'm no good at that on Saturday morning, but I'm getting better at this. So it's going to be music, county chat, probably some clips from this, some clips of Dave Challoner's various interviews, some top tunes. I believe the Jam will be featuring because it's Woking in it, and that's where they're from.
Yeah. Happy days. Yeah, sounds good.
Across the banner there, you know where to follow. And you can even listen back afterwards. You don't have to listen at the time because it's early, isn't it?
It is early. Well, 9:30, early on a Saturday morning. If you haven't already, please do like the show. I've just checked; we're on 9 likes last time I checked. So let's try and get that up. I don't want to sound like one of. I don't want to sound like. I don't want to sound like Thogden or some of one of these YouTubers, but we really do need to get to 1,000 subscribers because it'll help us pay for this technology that we use. We're not in it to do shit content just for clicks and shit. So
no, but if you do want some shit content, I could do some. I could cobble something together.
Well, they just need to follow you on Twitter, really, don't they?
Yeah. Oh.
So
I tell you what, this FA Cup win. I love the colour in you, mate.
It's not. It's the fame. It's the fame.
Yeah.
That's what's doing it.
Fame is a mask that eats into the face, young Russell.
It is.
There's the actual title.
Right, let's call it a day. Anything more from you, Nick? Anything about Pugash or no?
No, just everyone go away now.
Right.
Leave us alone.
For those that are going to Woking, enjoy the trip. Listen to the Away Day show. Sam, it's been an absolute pleasure as always. Thank you very much for coming on.
Cheers,
no problem.
We'll definitely give you a shout next time. We will.
Next time we beat a League One club, which have been about 2 fucking weeks.
No, I didn't really know where that sentence was going. Just next time we'll get you on. Interestingly enough, actually, just before we go, and before we ask you the last question, we have contacted Nihal as well. I'm not going to say his surname. I still need to practice it. But Nihal from BBC Radio 1, he's agreed to come on, so we will get him on in the coming weeks. That'll be good fun.
Yeah, brilliant.
Last thing, who was your man of the match for last night, Sam? Pick the bones of that.
Ryan Crosdale.
Nicholas?
Quiggers. The big Quigs.
Quiggers. I'm going for Quigley as well. But if it was Football Manager, Quigley would be 10. I reckon the rest would be 9.
They're all my men of the match. And you know who the real winner was last night? Go on, Ross. It was a real winner last night. No! Tell me, you dickhead! Weirdo.
Right, let's end it there. Let's end it there. Bye.
Cheers.